This is a podcast which does not shy away from difficult and vulnerable topics, and we ask you to take care of yourselves when you listen. The content is of an adult nature, and we do swear at times.
Welcome to the Autistic Licence podcast. I'm Leo in London.
I'm Shauna, and I'm Carrickfergus in Northern Ireland.
We invite you to listen in on our conversations as we experiment with unmasking in an autistic space. We talk about what it means to discover we're autistic as adults, especially with established careers as therapists. We want people to know that autistic therapists exist and to broaden the conversation about neurodiversity. You're so welcome to join us, whoever you are and wherever in the world you are. We hope you'll find something of interest and connection here. Jing, 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 jing. That was the sound of jingle bells.
I couldn't even tell.
Festive.
Right. Are you feeling festive?
Festive? No, not really.
Not really. On the subject of festive, like just using that word, Cadbury's have discontinued Festive Friends. And Festive Friends are like my Christmas biscuit. Now, you don't need to be looking it up. Just listen to
No, I'm not looking it up. I'm turning my volume up so that I can hear you better. I'm not looking anything up. I will tell you if I look anything. Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Have you not heard of Festive
No.
Friends? Oh my goodness. Festive Friends are like, you know, the little animal biscuits?
Oh, the little reindeers.
Tiny biscuits, yes.
Yes,
and
I have
so
seen
at
that.
Christmas time, the people that make the animal biscuits, they bring out Festive Friends. And so many biscuits at Christmas time have nut traces in them, but Festive Friends have never had nut traces in them. And so everybody has bought me Festive Friends forever. Me and my little niece, who's now 8, calls them Auntie Shauna biscuits. And she's called them Auntie Shauna biscuits for like her whole life. And now Auntie Shauna biscuits are not available anywhere in the UK and have been discontinued. Why, we ask? Because they always flew off the shelves.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they've brought out a different type of animal ones as a kind of a replacement. They might have even called them festive animals. I don't know, but they have nut traces in them, so I cannot change to those. So yes,
that's not okay. Though. That's
not
a
really
Christmas
not
ruiner.
okay. It's a ritual.
Yes,
it's a ritual. Yeah,
and answers a specific need in this particular case as well. It's not just that they're nice and traditional for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're also safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I do wonder cynically when this kind of thing happens if it's a bit of a publicity stunt sometimes.
They lose a lot of money if it's a publicity stunt.
And maybe the calculation is that when they bring them back, sales will double or so. I mean, I don't know. And I'm sure that there must be different reasons, but there is a bit of cynicism in me.
There are equivalencies, aren't there, with just autistic people and things being discontinued?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like, yeah, in different ways, whether it's food or whether it's clothes or a particular type of, you know, the only pyjamas that they'll wear. Adults and children. I'm not just talking about children here.
Totally,
you know, or
totally.
the such and such that needs replaced and then, or shoes and they're no longer available.
Or even kind of new formulas of things or slightly adjusted recipes.
Yes. Oh my goodness, my shampoo has changed its colour. But like the bottle is exactly the same. And I thought, well, why is it coming out this different colour? And then I noticed it did say new improved formula. It's not a new improved formula. It's not. It doesn't smell the same. But the biggest thing was it's not the same colour. There's something about the colour. It's like this lovely goldy colour and now it's white. No. So I have to find a new one. Yeah. I don't know how to find a new one.
This is a big deal, actually, because from a marketing point of view, especially for products that essentially don't change over time, and that's a lot of toiletries and washing powders and that kind of thing, but also foods. That's a necessary marketing technique, is that you say new and improved, or now with added, you know, and that is a problem for people who
do not want change, which is lots of people, but, especially an autistic person who's spent years finding the exact right thing that just works in every way. And
and it's not improved. And let's be honest.
Of course not.
Is it really improved, or is it just cheaper for them to manufacture?
There's that as well. Or there's, legislation-y things. This was an important one. This is not about neurodivergence so much. This is about diabetes. I'm also diabetic, which is that there are certain things, if your sugar level drops, to go to. So, for example, in my case, I carry jelly babies everywhere I go, and that's my emergency sugar hit. If my sugars drop, 5 jelly babies will sort it out. And that's actually medical advice given at the clinics when you get diagnosed and stuff. And the other one is Lucozade. So that's a fizzy, sugary drink that's traditionally you get when you're ill, and it's to build you up again. They reduced the sugar in Lucozade for good health reasons, but it wasn't publicised. I don't believe it was publicised as a new and improved thing. I found out about it through social media on diabetes groups saying you cannot rely now.
Don't rely on it.
Or you need to up the standard amount that you would drink to stabilise your sugars. Lots of reasons that people don't necessarily think about when they think they are improving something or at least making changes to it. What are the Festive Friends? What else, I wonder, would we be in trouble at some level if they went away or were changed?
Well, to be fair, I wouldn't be in trouble if Festive Friends would. In fact, probably it's way better for me not to eat a packet a day.
Though, is it? And it is only Christmas.
That's not the point. But for plenty of people, there are very real. There's much more significant distress caused. Yes.
Actually, that brings
being available anymore. That brings you to.
It brings to mind something that's very timely, actually, which was that for certainly the last couple of weeks, but really over the last month, I've been quite congested in my chest in the morning, or tight, not congested. But, lots of coughing. And partly it's definitely a seasonal thing. It's when the weather does change, there's a bit of a trigger to my asthma, and it's gone by lunchtime. But the first 2 or 3 hours of the day, and I noticed that particularly this morning when it was actually really bad. And I did think, and I kind of made a decision to knock peanut butter on the head for a few days. Because I do want, you'll be delighted about this. I do wonder if I've...
Why would I be delighted about it? I'm not anti-peanut butter. I just need it not to be in my vicinity.
Exactly. Well, yes.
I'm not delighted about it. But anyway, you've realised that it might be affecting you.
I do wonder if I've developed a bit of a sensitivity. Because it can come on. I know somebody...
it can, it definitely
A friend
can.
of mine who has an absolutely, like you, carries an EpiPen and everything because of a deadly allergy to hazelnuts. And that was because he, as a particular point as a kid, went nuts, went crazy for Nutella. And I guess it can work both ways, can't it? Because when you overexpose yourself to something, you can develop an immunity to it, or you can develop a sensitivity.
Yes.
And and now he will die if he eats hazelnuts and doesn't have an EpiPen handy.
But you were finding the congestion before you ate, or the symptoms?
No. See that's what I noticed.
After you think it might be.
I think it might. That's what I noticed this very morning. And
yes.
Also that there's been a bit of a change. Oh, good. We're back to Leo's health. Also, I've noticed
this is a thing carrying on, though, because in the last one, I don't know if it's what is the last one? There's one that we
in another recording
need to edit. I talk about my allergy symptoms and, coughing, and it's probably not as severe coughing as what you're talking about now. And actually, that's all past because I've taken so many different steps. But I was talking about that.
Yes.
So it kind of carries on.
That's true. And it being a seasonal thing.
That seasonal thing. But yours might not be if you're talking about potentially developing a sensitivity to the peanut butter, which has been a constant for you, although probably not excessive.
Well, It is excessive for a regular. I mean, I don't know how much an average human eats crunchy peanut butter, but it probably isn't 3 or 4 crackers worth every single day for 7.5 years.
I don't know. Autistic license at gmail.com. How often do people eat peanut butter? I don't know. Wrong person to ask.
I know. No, that's true. That's true.
You said about your friend and developing.
I did. No, but also my ADHD meds, new batch just arrived an hour ago, have definitely kind of knocked my appetite down as well. And I've been struggling to eat my 3 crackers in the morning now. It actually, in the last few weeks, that's been spread out over the whole morning. Like I'll eat one, do some work, and then kind of think, oh, God, that's not enough. I need to eat more than that. It takes a while.
You just don't want to eat?
Nah.
But even though your appetite isn't average anyway.
No,
you
it's not
normally
exactly.
wouldn't have an appetite. You normally wouldn't have an appetite. So what do you mean? Like even your version of
yes, exactly,
being able to take in food.
That's right. I mean, I don't get hunger in the way that people who haven't had the surgery that I've had would have, but I do get what I've called head hunger, which is I like the idea of something. I certainly like the taste of certain things. And all the way through, I've always been quite excited, even at night. Oh, I get to have my crackers and peanut butter and coffee in the morning.
So you you get excited at night about that the next morning?
Often. That will often happen, or banana on toast, depending on the environment. But genuinely, because
I've never experienced that in my life.
No, like, me neither. Me neither. And it's partly, definitely partly a ritualistic satisfaction, and definitely partly, though, that's a nice taste. That's why I chose it to be my standard breakfast. I do not have that now at all. Oh. I know, it's very sad.
Well, I'm still trying to understand. So there's just like nothing at all, only like just a cognitive
that's
awareness.
I
have to put some fuel into my body.
Fuel. Yes, that's right.
And how do I get that in?
Exactly.
But you don't enjoy. When you start to eat it, you're not enjoying the taste of it?
It's okay. Actually, God, wow, I hadn't thought about the combination of things here. ADHD meds, the surgery. And there is something autistic now that is kicking in where I am finding some of the texture unpleasant. Oh. And I've noticed that. This is only in the last few days. But it's too dry, it's too sticky. And so maybe I do need to just switch over to something else and try.
Something else, yeah. Well, also, I mean, obviously, if you are also concerned that there's some kind of sensitivity, maybe this is the time to change something else. Yeah. But what about like other meals and other parts of the day? Are you not enjoying anything?
No, I am.
Yeah,
I absolutely am.
Okay.
I mean, there are biscuits around right now, and I will have a couple of biscuits from a selection and totally enjoy them. I like sweet things. I mean, again, it's dialed down. And there was something. Oh yeah, and the repetitive thing. And we know that I eat pizza. That at the moment for the last year or two maybe has been a very safe standby. But I've really had no interest in varying that at the moment at all. And that's I try to make sure there's other things to supplement it. So that it isn't just that, but that is kind of it's just good enough, and that's fine, and it's easy, and that's been the repetition has been way more, I think, again over the last few weeks. Yes. And you feel like that might be connected to the meds and it's appetite? Yes, it's connected to dial down my version of appetite. Yeah, your version of appetite. Which is, that's easy, tastes nice, I do enjoy it. Yes. And that's good enough, but I've got no drive or interest to do anything else. And that'll probably change. It'll probably go, safe foods and same foods do go in cycles. I'm sure it'll change. But that's definitely more prominent at the moment. And I have lost weight, but not continually. But I'm kind of at the lowest I've weighed as an adult is where I am now again. And that's stable, so I don't mind. Except that it makes you a bit chilly. It does. It does.
I know you told me that before.
I feel
You're looking at me
uncomfortable.
like I just knew something or
No, I
guessed
know
something.
you know that. I know
You've
you
already
know
told
that.
me
No,
that.
no, it's true. It's true. I'm, you know,
Yeah.
the heating is on right now next to me, and I've got a fan on, but you know, it's just maintaining that
Heating.
ridiculously fine, narrow band of temperature comfort.
Yes. I've got a thermal vest, a jumper, an hoodie, and the radiator on. Yes.
We might have to put a photo of a.
No, I don't think that we can put a photo of me right now.
No, it doesn't have to be you in it. It could just be a publicity photo from the brand of what they look like.
I'm not getting paid by Udi to do such a thing. It is a particularly shapeless item of clothing, but the warmest thing in the world.
Yes, I can see it is like, you know, we talked about slankets recently, didn't you? In fact,
this is
that dialed up,
thicker than a slanket.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and of course it goes right round, not just at the front, and obviously you can move around in it. Yes.
Would you go out in it?
Just not out. I mean, I went out the front door to come to the cabin and waved at the window cleaner. So yes, in that sense, I would. Not out to shops in it.
Or the theatre.
The theatre? No, I wouldn't, although it would be so comfy in the theatre,
Well, it would,
really?
isn't it, if you had a big enough seat.
The theatre's not really that warm sometimes.
No.
None of those kind of places are warm enough for me, like cinemas and things.
And we were talking about that in the Hamilton episode, actually, weren't we? About how uncomfortable you were.
Yes, I'm trying to persuade Lana to go and see Wicked with me at the weekend. I really want to go. But the hazard is the temperature. Although I think there's maybe one cinema that we've been to that's maybe a bit warmer, because that'll wreck it for me. And we're going to see Red Riding Hood with the little cousins, Leilana's little cousins, my niece and nephew.
As a pantomime?
It's a pantomime. Because Lana and I normally go to the theatre, like a local small theatre, not to see a pantomime, to see a show at Christmas time. But the ones that were on this year, we didn't like the look of at all. So normally we would be doing that before Christmas, and it would be one of our rituals and that kind of thing. But it's not happening. But we do have Red Riding Hood. I booked Red Riding Hood for whenever my brother and sister-in-law and the kids are over after Christmas. So that means we get to do our theatre trip.
I think that is uniquely British, isn't it? United Kingdom-ish.
Theatre?
Pantomimes.
Pantos? Yeah, maybe.
And it is specific to Christmas. There are specific fairy tale like stories that are the standard stories.
I've never seen Red Riding Hood.
No, I haven't actually.
At a theatre or a panto or anything like that. I've seen most of them over the years with Lana. Growing up, we got to see lots, but never Red Riding Hood. So that's a nice thing. I saw a meme the other day. I sent it to Lana, and it said Grandma changed her profile picture, and it was like Red Riding Hood. We thought it was hilarious. It was really very funny.
I've had a couple of people recommend that I go and see Wicked.
Oh, I really
been told if there are any children in your life, rope them in and go and see it.
Lana and I saw Wicked in London, actually, a few years ago.
On stage?
On stage.
Yes.
Yeah. I like Wicked a lot. I like The Wizard of Oz. Christmas. Are we vaguely talking about Christmas?
Pantomimes.
Festive
Christmas. Friends.
I know. The nice thing.
Peanut butter,
Christmas.
traditional Christmas dinner, peanut butter and crackers.
So I've finished up my work. You're finishing up your work tomorrow, isn't that right?
Congratulations as well. That's nice.
Congratulations.
That's nice.
I was just kind of marking the transition into Christmas kind of mode. And feelings about Christmas? Do you have any?
Not a lot this year. Not like in a negative way, just very neutral. not really on my mind, other than the actual break, which will be nice, and the day I'm sure will be nice. It'll be the smallish family get together, 6 of us we've had for the last few years, minus lockdown. Oh no, as you pointed out, minus last year, because Mum and Dad had COVID. So actually we'd forgotten
it was
about
only
that.
A few, yes.
So it's just my sister and niece here for the day, which was really lovely.
Last
really
year, that's
nice.
what it was.
Yeah.
But this year you'll go to your mum and dad's, yeah.
All being well, yeah.
What do you mean all being well if they don't get COVID?
If none of us get COVID or something else, like just what happened last year.
It's an interesting phrase, isn't it? All being well. And why people use that in what scenario or something. Yeah.
Or people would...
But it's true. I mean, it's true.
It's a cultural thing and it's a religious thing. That's kind of the non-religious version, isn't it? All being well.
Of God willing. God
willing, inshallah. Or my grandmother would always say, please God.
Oh, okay.
or for short, PG.
PG.
If it was written.
Guidance.
If it was written, it would... Oh, yeah. I never thought about that. Yes, if it was written, like, see you all next week, PG.
Yes. What does DV mean?
I don't know.
Is that
video?
Not, no, it doesn't mean that. But does it mean it's something to do with God?
Well,
DV.
Like divinity or divine or something like that?
Where's Deus, that coming from? Like Latin or Greek. Latin.
Where does this come up?
I don't know. Whenever you said that she writes it, I thought, is there not a thing that you can write in old style English which says, well, obviously not, it's probably Latin, that's DV and it means that same kind of thing.
Oh, does it? Oh, no,
I think so.
I've never come across that. And the reason that she would write PG is in at least traditional Judaism, you're not supposed to write God.
Yeah.
So often you would write G***D.
Yes.
Or, PG shortens the whole thing anyway. And
it becomes, God, but she is actually using God.
Yes.
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 Yes. Is that because, like, whenever God revealed his name, they weren't allowed to say it?
Well, yes, and it's not actually traditionally the word God, it's God's name that you're not supposed to say.
Yes, that's what I mean, yes. The name. And then they started saying Yahweh, but putting eclipse, whatever that's called.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Ellipsis. I don't know what's it called. Are we thinking between that means that you don't say it or you leave little bits out of it? Something like that. I don't know what it's called.
Hello, it's Editor Leo here, just to check in and clear up a couple of things. Shauna's right when she said ellipsis. Ellipsis being indicated by a set of 3 dots when you've left something out, some words out that are maybe superfluous when you're writing. And indeed, DV is short for Deo Volente, the Latin for God willing.
But yes, I know it's that the name was not allowed to actually be said. So it's almost like the God who has no name or the God whose name we cannot say.
Exactly.
Yes. Which I think is very accurate. I think that's how I relate to whoever, whatever is out there. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Hence the famous stoning scene in Monty Python's Life of Brian. If you want to look that up, anybody, you'll see that being mocked. The idea of blaspheming by saying the name of our Lord.
Saying the name. Okay.
But it is interesting how then that got translated over, in this case, into English, as it not being okay to say the word or to write the word God, which isn't the name, as far as I understand.
Yes.
So you'd end up with this G***D or PG.
Or PG.
Are we getting ourselves into really hot water here?
Well, no, I don't think we are, because I think that it just fires off all sorts of things, like, how that then was taken, like God's name in vain, and how people see that whenever, like...
If it's used as an exclamation.
Yeah. It's like, but then practice whatever behaviour you want in the name of God.
Indeed.
Yes. I guess we are linking into some religious things. I You know, because I play carols at this time of year, and this is there's kind of a real grief for me actually about that. So that would be an interesting thing to share because I know every word and I always loved carols. Like even before I was Christianized in my teens, and I wasn't like I was brought up in Northern Ireland, so therefore I was brought up around religion. But I didn't call myself Christian or anything like that. But I always loved the carols, and I knew the carols, and we sang the carols all the time in school, and so I just knew them all. And then they took on more significance whenever I was Christianized and had those years, and I just loved them. And they were it was this ritual, it was this comfort, it was everything about all of that made Christmas actually quite magical for me, despite not liking Christmas and not liking the gatherings or all of that went through it. And when I left the church and left Christianity, I've never had any desire to listen to any music associated to that, or like Christian worship or like hymns or any of that. Like that's not any desire, or there's not really any nostalgia attached to that for me. But carols, there is. And so at this time every year, like I want to hear the carols and I want to be surrounded by that. And I have my CDs that are all falling apart because they're so many years old, and I play them. And it's really like, even though I listen to the words and I don't really believe a lot of the words in it, I can't give it up. And it feels then like a loss, because then I also want to be able to go to a church to sing with other people. And yet I haven't done that for many, many years. And I thought about it again this year, and I looked up, what was available and where it was. But then I have so many stumbling blocks with the churches involved and what that would actually be like to join in that. And I haven't really got over it, but I think I'm just sharing that it's still part of it's something that I maintain, and that's part of this lead up kind of time to Christmas that I actually really like, because I like the lights, I like the tree, love the lights and love the tree. In fact, I was so desperate to get the lights up that I really struggled, because I had wanted it to be done one weekend, and it wasn't able to be. I can't remember what Ricky was doing or what we were doing. It couldn't be, and I was desperate to get to the next weekend so that I could get the lights up. And it's not like we were late, we were early compared to a lot of people, but I just couldn't cope without them being up. So things like that have loads and loads of significance for me, and I'm not like jaded in any way. And yet Christmas itself is still very, very, very mixed for me, and there's not like a looking forward to it. But that lead up time is significant, and I do it. I participate in it. So in my way, as in how I decorate the house and the dolls' houses, and they're all three of them are done now. By the way,
can we put some pictures up of those, because you sent me some and it was really quite wonderful.
Well, I might not.
Well, I leave it to you.
I might not put pictures of all the houses. What I might do is allow pictures to go out of the Christmas party, because one of them has a Christmas party every year, and then they all participate, and so I might do something like that if anybody would be interested in that. But yes, I love all those kind of things, and doing all of that. And yet, if you asked me how I feel about Christmas, like I just asked you, I would stumble a bit and not really know how to answer that, and it wouldn't be clear cut at all.
Well, going back to the carols part,
Yes.
I was just trying to find a social post actually that just came up in the last few hours that really resonated. And it wasn't to do with Christmas. It was to do with autistic people and music. If it doesn't come up immediately, then I'm not gonna spend a time on it. But basically, this particular poster was talking about the particular affinity with music that autistic people have, which I've kind of always been aware of myself, and the amount of lyrics that we have stored, and that any time in any conversation when somebody says something that's almost just even hinting at a particular lyric that we have to say it out loud, it comes to mind immediately. But that's carols. But you were saying that about carols, that you know all of the words to all of the carols.
Yes.
And that makes lots of sense anyway, that music being a very, very important thread, especially then when you tie it to something that's predictable and annual in that case, that's got a very, very definite cycle and time for it. It makes lots of sense to me. And it was for everybody.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I just remembered something like from childhood, because I was told I couldn't sing, so I couldn't be in the choir. And part of that was because when they would do these auditions, I would be so shy that I would open my mouth and mime, but not let them actually hear my voice. And then I would not be chosen for the choir. So then it was right, well, I can't sing. But when it came to carols, everyone sings carols. You don't have to be a good, in inverted commas, a good singer to sing the carols. So I suppose it gave me a chance to sing, and everybody was singing, and you didn't just have to be somebody who was seen to be a good singer to sing it. And I actually remember, and I was quite a shy kid, but I remember, being in the back seat of a car with little friends and one of their parents driving us places and singing carols, like we were all singing carols, and not feeling self-conscious. And I don't think that there would have been many other contexts where I would have let my voice be heard, but it was just like everybody's singing, it's just like talking in that. And that's what singing should be like it shouldn't be just for the people that supposedly have a good voice. So I think that might be why for carols it feels like it's like welcoming, and maybe it did feel like I can,
and that's why it's
join and I can stick with that. Yes.
And that brings to mind something that I can't remember if we've spoken about it before. Me saying, no, I don't kind of feel festive.
I need to pause because Leilana's knocking the door. I didn't realise she doesn't have a key.
Face. I see her
face. Right, let me...
Don't stop recording.
Where were we?
Are you all right to continue?
Yeah.
So what I was saying at the beginning, how are you feeling? Well, I'm not particularly feeling festive, but actually what I've realised is I don't at this time now, since Christmases have got smaller as cousins and various people have had their own families and grandparents have passed away. These things are smaller and somehow, I don't know, different. I'm a grown up and I've experienced lots of Christmases, so there's something about the novelty, and the presents aren't a big deal now, really. So there's that, but I also realise, and I've only just remembered it, that there is a moment actually where I do become festive, and it's going to be Sunday evening. There's a very specific, incredibly specific traditional thing that I go to. So my childhood friend Louise, who I'm still friends with her and her husband and kids, and her parents, her mum's Danish, and every year they have a Danish Christmas get-together in their house.
Yeah.
And you are invited to gløgg and æbleskur is what it says, and gløgg is a hot punch. Æbleskur are little pancake balls that are hollow on the inside, and you tear them open and you put jam in.
Okay.
And so you go for gløgg and æbleskur, and we sing carols around a Christmas tree if there's there. And this will be, there's been a couple of absences.
In English? You sing carols in English? Mostly
in English. One in Latin. There's a Latin one that we always sing, and so I will have been doing that. This will be the 42nd year of doing that, and obviously,
I don't know about this.
Have I never told you about gløgg and æbleskur? And it's now a very small thing. I mean, it used to be dozens and dozens. It was huge, in the 80s and 90s when there were lots of people would turn up for that. And now it's kind of got, very much more intimate. Because that goes back to when I was 15, that I would be round there sitting with Richard and playing piano and guitar and singing. So that is incredibly festive and is really ingrained. And it is kind of the one thing, even within my own family, it's the one thing that hasn't, it's got smaller, but it hasn't changed and it has remained the same carol sheets, the same.
Oh my goodness. It sounds amazing.
It is. So, yes, Sunday night will probably that will feel Christmassy for sure.
Yes.
There'll be decorations and particular smells and particular music and particular people.
Yes. And do you have lights and a tree up in your house?
Not at this time. If we were to do it, we'd probably do it this weekend.
Oh wow, that late?
Well, this has always been my thing, and I've completely changed my mind on this in recent years. Actually, that if it's going to be done, I actually would like it all the way through the month. But it used to be in my head; it was this strategic thing. If you put it up, say at the beginning of December-ish, which is what a lot of people will do, then it's not special anymore when it's actually Christmas. Now, I don't think like that anymore. I don't believe that. There are certain little decorations that we've got. We do have, I can't remember where we are with trees now. I know there's a little one, but a tabletop one where the branches are all fibre optic, so it'll just, twinkle on. I quite like that.
I love all that.
And there are lots of, and I don't know if we still had these because they were just battery eaters, but loads of little houses with lights in.
Yes.
And there is now I'm thinking about it now. There is a white, I think it's IKEA actually, Christmas tree that's flat, that stands up, that has lights in it. For me, what I really like is lights. That's the most important thing, I think, more than actual, whether or not there's an actual tree. It's more that lights are the thing for me that make me feel kind of excited and festive.
I like the lights, and I also like the decorations, because I have hundreds and hundreds of decorations on the tree, the two trees.
Yes, and you have
the
two trees. Sure,
because they're just holders for the decorations.
Yes.
And then I need them to be up for like 6 weeks, because I rotate them, because they're covered in things right the way around. So like every week I move them a quarter.
How are Phoebe and Dusk with all these things hanging up and being...
They swipe at them.
Yes, I was wondering.
They do. Well, I said got 3 trees, actually, to be honest. There's one little tree which is behind a glass thing in a cabinet, because it's got the breakable decorations on it. The things on the trees are not breakable, and if they are semi-breakable, they're up towards the top. But the cats swipe at the bottom ones, and sometimes they take things off and push them around the floor. They don't actually get into the trees anymore. When they were kittens, they would actually jump up and like go into the branches. They don't do that anymore. But it's just things for them to bat at and play with, and that's okay. I just have to pick them up and put them back on, which I like, because then I get to put them in it. I get to enjoy them and put them back where I want to put them. That's what I love. I love all those symbols. It's like just this excuse to have all these symbols and memories up all the time. And then turn it round, rotate it, and then there's all these new ones that you haven't seen and more you haven't seen.
That I totally understand. That is thrilling.
I could just look at the Christmas tree. Like I can just, there's no contest for me between a phone or a TV and a Christmas tree. I'll just look at a Christmas tree. So I can just lie on the beanbag and look at a Christmas tree for 20 minutes.
And we Zoomed the other day or night, and you showed me one of the trees
that was beside the table I was sitting at.
Exactly, yes. And you've got your beautiful jungle wallpaper as well, and it went so well. And I do find that with your, I don't think I do this anywhere else, but your wallpaper is this very mesmerized. I can get lost in that and the repetitions and the colours and creatures. It's
Yes, I do look at the wallpaper as well, but now I'm looking at the tree. But
I bet.
Yes, and that wallpaper and the other wallpaper in the sunroom, I look at it as well, even though it's like, it's just trees, different shapes of trees, colourful trees, so mythical kind of ones. But I look at it and I look at the repetition and all in it as well.
Yes. There's something else I will share with you. Maybe I'll also put it on the pictures page, which I've just remembered as well, which I believe, again, is a traditional Danish thing, but there's a particular decoration for the tree and you make them. And it's a heart.
Yes.
And you make two. Now, it's complicated to make, but you basically make it in two halves and they are woven together in a very particular way, which is very geometrically pleasing.
Yes.
And then they open up in their little baskets, and so that you can put some sweets in there and then hang the hearts on the tree. They're fantastic. And I remember that because when I'd learned how to make those, then my mum and dad made a bunch, and that is part of their Christmas tree decorations now, is the Danish heart decoration, if they are. I'm pretty sure they're specifically Danish.
Yes. Ricky was making decorations with Lana for his tree because I have given him some decorations, but I haven't been very good at sharing. So he doesn't have a full compliment. But anyway, he's arty and Lana's arty. So they were making decorations, really creative decorations with art, with the paints. And he bought the plain ones that you get for children. So whenever Leilana was little, like in nursery school and even primary school, they would buy these sets and the children would decorate them. In fact, there's like lots on our tree that she's made over the years whenever she was little. And I could say, you made this when you were 3. You made this when you were 4. They're all there. But yeah, he was doing that with her. It's not something that I've ever done, is make decorations. Mine are all bought or gifted. They're not.
Well, I'm going to send you these heart ones.
Yes,
I'll find a web page that shows you how to make them.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to make something, and it'll be kind of, unusual and unique a little bit.
Or I'll give it to Lana to make. She's much more creative than I am to make that kind of thing. Or make them with her dad. Yes. Yeah. This is a funny conversation. No, not funny. This is an interesting conversation for me because I always think I'm so ambivalent about Christmas, and I am, and yet this has kind of brought out those aspects of this season that are kind of special. And
me, exactly the same for me. Exactly the same. That's exactly what's just happened, that I've identified. Oh, no, there are these particular points which are very special, unique. They're not the ones that most people will talk about.
Yeah.
Where it's about the food and the presents and the booze, I guess, as well, Yes.
I was at the dentist last week and said something like, so you're looking forward to Christmas? And I, in characteristic autistic fashion, said, well, I'm not dreading it.
That's nice.
And of course, this engendered horror in the dentist and the dental nurse. And instead of actually relating to me at all, they started relating and trying to reassure each other that it was really intolerable to dread Christmas. And so they said something like, I think one of them said, oh, you shouldn't dread Christmas. And I said, I was still inserting myself into the conversation at this point, and I said, some people do, because actually some people do.
Yes, totally.
It's true. And for me to say I'm not dreading it is actually going, it's all right.
Yes.
I think I said, I think I did say it. I'm all right about it. I'm not dreading it. I thought it was a perfectly okay answer, but they didn't. They could not permit it at all. No. And they really jollied themselves up as if I was not present. I just ceased to exist because they couldn't tolerate this idea.
No, that's right.
And it was like...
These are not trauma-informed responses, are they?
It was like, how many people have you had in this chair over the last few weeks who are really
Are
not
in
okay about
of course.
Christmas.
That's right.
They don't say that to you. They just answer and say, "Oh yes, can't wait. Have you got your shopping done?"
Yes.
And because I didn't do that, they couldn't cope. And I did think afterwards, oh, that was really autistic, Shauna. And I've got the wherewithal to understand that and not give myself a hard time. But it did make me think about how invalidated people can feel, like they don't even admit it. And then when they do say something, and I wasn't saying I'm dreading it, I actually was saying I'm not dreading it.
Exactly.
But like how invalidated many people are at this time of the year for so many reasons, whether because of that or just because they feel like they don't have the things that they want. They're not partnered, they don't have children, they're not, all these things that people want to have, or the trappings or the do's that they don't go to, or the whatever. And it just, and
of course we need to be explicit, and we have been before. We're talking about Christmas from a cultural point of view, from the culture that we live in, and of course we recognise that this is not a universal experience. Not everybody listening to this will have much to do with Christmas and not have necessarily many opinions about it, but culturally this is where many people stop work, have a break, have a celebration, regardless of religion, in fact.
It got we did go into religion a little bit because that's contextual for me. But you're right, it's very
let's just leave it there. No, leave that sentence just there.
You're right on this one thing. You're right. Though fair enough, but it would be weird not to talk about it. It would feel like avoiding something, because that's what's happening around us everywhere.
And that's the point. That's right.
Yes.
It's been lovely to start out from quite an ambivalent place, and then to actually think, no, they're these little pinpricks of light that actually are very important. And there is part of that is the ritualistic and repetitive nature of them that's comforting, and it's autistically comforting, obviously, too.
That's right. Thank you for being with us, lovely listeners.
And merry season, happy holidays.
Yes, if you're into Christmas, I hope it delivers. And if not, I hope you have moments of peace. It'll all be over soon.
That's the most important thing. That's right. That's right. And we will speak to you again very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Autistic License podcast. You can connect with us via Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at autisticlicense.com, or by email at autisticlicense@gmail.com. We spell license LICENCE. We also have a Facebook community. You can search for Autistic License Shauna and Leo. Shauna spelled SIANA, or you can click on the link in the show notes.